My name is Sarah, a 35-year-old stay-at-home mom. I married my high school sweetheart, Tom, and we moved for his job, now living in the next town over. I'm currently pregnant, just about ready to hit my 9th month, but circumstances have brought me back to my childhood home. The reason? My younger brother's wedding. He called to share the news that he was getting married. I knew he had been seeing someone for a while, but it seems they've decided to tie the knot. As his only sister, I'd love to be there for my little brother's wedding, but with my due date right around the corner, it's unpredictable what could happen. After discussing it with my family, we decided it would be best if I sat this one out. Since today is the eve of the wedding and my brother is returning home, I brought over some gifts as a way to celebrate, which is why I've returned home today. As I walked in, I found my brother lounging in the living room, sipping his coffee. Seeing me, his face lit up with a big smile.
Wow, Sarah, it's been a while. Your belly's gotten so big.
Looking at my pregnant belly, he seemed quite surprised. I know, right? I've gotten quite big. It's even a task to get out of bed now. My brother has always loved kids and works as a kindergarten teacher. He's very excited about my baby coming.
Wow, this is really amazing. Hey, can I touch your belly?
He asked for permission to touch my pregnant belly, to which I replied, sure, go ahead. I didn't mind him touching my belly, so I let him go ahead. However, little did I know at the time that this would trigger an unthinkable incident. As my brother gingerly laid his hand on my belly, the baby inside gave his hand a gentle kick from within.
Wow, this is so moving. I can't wait to have a kid of my own someday.
You have so much to look forward to, I replied just as we were having this friendly conversation. What on earth are you doing? Suddenly a young woman stormed into the living room, staring at me with a fierce expression. As I was trying to figure out how to explain, an immense force struck my cheek. I didn't realize I had been hit until a moment later. Unprepared for such an attack, I stumbled backwards and landed hard on my butt. If that wasn't enough, the next moment a loud pop was followed by water leaking from below. I realized that my water had broken due to the fall and my belly began to hurt from the shock. Ouch, it hurts, please help. Between being struck and my water breaking, I was in so much shock that I passed out then and there. When I woke up, I found myself lying in bed staring blankly at the ceiling. Where am I? Oh no, the baby. Is the baby okay? In an instant, I felt a wave of fear washing over me. My belly, which had been swollen until recently, now appeared smaller with an IV tube attached to my arm.
Oh, are you awake?
A sudden voice startled me. In the room were an elderly couple I didn't know and the woman who had pushed me earlier. The woman was looking over with a sullen face. Who are you? I managed to ask. The situation was already causing me to panic, and seeing strangers in the room made it even more confusing.
Sorry for the confusion.
We're the parents of Luna, your brother's bride-to-be. The parents of my brother's bride-to-be were grinning at me. That's not important right now. I need a doctor. As I reached to press the nurse call button, my hand was suddenly held back. What are you doing? Let go of me. This time, the bride's mother interfered. It's okay. We'll call for you. But before that, there's something we need to discuss. I couldn't understand why they wanted to talk before calling a doctor. I needed to know what was going on as soon as possible. I don't have time to talk with you. My baby is missing. Oh, that? The baby's in the incubator. You have nothing to worry about. Everything is under the doctor's control. Then they suggested a settlement. Their daughter was young. They said that I should forgive her this time because of her youth. Are you kidding me? I can't do that. The absurdity of it all led me to shout out. What are you talking about? You don't need to be so tough. You're just poor after all, aren't you? You want money from the settlement, right? Don't hold back. The three of them seemed to assume that I was poor and that I would certainly agree to a settlement if they offered enough money. But I couldn't accept that. They had disregarded my life and thought they could resolve it with money. I won't. I'm ready to fight. Earlier, you referred to my baby as that. I will never settle with someone who doesn't even apologize. Seeing my firm stance, they began to show their impatience. They increased the amount they offered, 1 million, 2 million, but no matter what they said, I wouldn't agree. Enough is enough. Because of you, my wedding was canceled, you know. If anything, I'm the victim here. If you don't agree to the settlement, I'll demand payment for the cancellation of the wedding. Just when I was at my wit's end, not understanding their pressure, and tears started welling up, a voice rang out.
We've heard the whole story.
With those words, my husband Tom and my brother suddenly walked into the hospital room. Both of them glared at the trio with a menacing look. Hey, where have you been? I've been calling you since earlier. I received a text that our wedding is canceled tomorrow, but there's no explanation. Explain it properly to me, Luna said as she tried to run towards my brother.
Don't come any closer. You're not my bride.
Huh? She was taken aback by the sudden comment and stopped in her tracks. What do you mean by not my bride? Aren't we supposed to be a couple since we're getting married? Are you joking about me not being your bride? Was she not understanding the situation, or did she think my brother was just messing around? Her face didn't seem to register the gravity of the situation yet.
Do you think this is a joke? You let your emotions get the best of you, hit Sarah without hearing her out, and she ended up going into labor due to that. All you did was look down on her while she was in pain. Didn't even try to help, did you?
That's right, she stood there with a faint smile looking down at me in pain, offering no help whatsoever until I passed out. I was just so shocked that I couldn't move. It's not like I didn't want to help. She insisted that she had intended to help but was too shocked to move.
Really? But you seem to be quite relaxed looking at your smartphone and grinning. If you were really too shocked to move, you wouldn't be leisurely checking your phone, would you?
She must not have thought that we saw that. I didn't miss the momentary twitch in her face. Well, I didn't mean any harm, but more importantly, our wedding was ruined, right? Don't you care about that? Don't you feel bad about the inconvenience caused to the people who came from afar? All because of that. Just like her mother, she referred to what happened to me and my baby as that. That word was more unforgivable than anything else. It wasn't just me who felt that way. Tom did too.
I'm sorry, but on the way here, we filed a complaint. We can't let this go.
Their smug faces from earlier dropped, gaping in surprise at Tom's words. Wait a minute, what do you mean you filed a complaint? She collapsed and went into labor on her own, right? If anything, our wedding got ruined. Shouldn't we be the ones demanding compensation? Hearing words like compensation and complaint, Luna became flustered, desperately wanting to marry my brother.
Brian, don't you think that's a bit harsh? Our daughter didn't mean any harm. Please forgive her.
Yeah, and isn't that woman also to blame? My daughter thought she was your mistress and got jealous. I think you bear some responsibility too. It seems Luna thought I was my brother's mistress, but he had shown her my photo in advance, so could there have been a misunderstanding? Even if there was, it's absolutely not acceptable to hit a pregnant woman.
No matter what the reason is, hitting a pregnant woman is unforgivable. You haven't even apologized to Sarah once, have you? Why would I want to marry someone like that? Don't joke around.
My brother raised his voice and Luna, looking pale, came over to me. I understand. I apologize. I'm very sorry for what happened. See, I apologize now, so please reconsider. It seemed like she was only apologizing reluctantly because she didn't want the marriage to be called off.
No, it's too late for that. After hearing what you said, I can't even consider marrying you. I'll demand payment for the cancellation of the wedding and compensation. Stay out of my life.
No matter what she said, my brother's mind was made up, and neither Tom nor I intended to withdraw the complaint. Despite other patients being around, all they cared about was not wanting to get divorced. They were desperate to have their wedding, worried about face saving before their relatives and colleagues. It didn't seem like they felt any remorse for the terrible thing they'd done to us. And so, my brother and Luna broke up. I felt sorry for him, but
don't worry about it, Sarah. Actually, I'm relieved. I didn't marry such a heartless woman. If it's meant to be, I'll meet someone wonderful.
His positive words reassured me a bit. Later, the doctor came to see us. The baby was fine, and I was told that we could go home together once my condition improved. Although I fell on my butt, my lower body was in pain, but other than that, there was no abnormality in my bones. The only pain was from the scar left by the emergency cesarean section. When I went to see my baby, they were crying energetically in their small bed. The moment I heard their voice, tears of relief streamed down my face. Thus, after several days in the hospital with my child, my health returned. And since neither my child nor I had abnormalities in our health, we finally reached the day of discharge. On the day of discharge, it seems that my husband Tom and my brother were coming to the hospital by car. I was waiting at the hospital entrance holding my child. It's all right, sweetie. Daddy will be here soon. You must be excited to go home. While I was soothing my child, that's when it happened.
Ah! Suddenly, Luna raised her voice and swung a metal bat towards me and my child. What the hell? I managed to dodge her in a split second, but she was aiming to swing again. This was dangerous. I thought I had to run away, but my legs were trembling and I couldn't move from the spot. Then a security guard who happened to be nearby came over and protected us. Soon my husband and the others arrived and restrained her. Let go of me! What are you doing? She screamed and thrashed about being held down, causing a scene in front of everyone. I could feel the blood draining from my face at the sight. The child I was holding my arm must have sensed something as well because they started crying as if they were on fire. Are you okay, Sarah? Tom came over to me and stroked my back, seeing my face pale. What's going on? Why is she here for starters? I didn't notify anyone about my discharge today. That's right, only a handful of people knew that I was being discharged today. So why does she know that I was being discharged today? Hey, no one told you about the discharge. How the hell did you know? He questioned Luna, who was being restrained. Then we heard unbelievable words from her mouth. Of course, I've been staking out here every day. Apparently, she had been coming to the hospital every day to meet me, waiting for me to leave. You've been here every day? What about your job? You didn't ditch just to be here, did you? If she had skipped work to be here, that would be a problem. Don't be ridiculous. Even I wouldn't do such a thing. I told my boss that I've been harassed by the groom's sister and my marriage has been ruined. I'm so shocked that I can't recover, so I'm taking a break. So it's not like I'm playing hooky being here today. She explained confidently, but I think it does qualify as playing hooky. And by the groom's sister, she means me. How was I supposed to harass my brother's bride? I didn't even have time to harass her when I first met her that day. I felt frustrated not knowing what she was talking about. Stop lying for once. My sister didn't harass you. That was our first encounter. You need to understand the gravity of what you've done.
It seems that she still didn't understand the severity of her actions. When my brother asked why she did this, she apparently still had feelings for him and wanted him to reconsider by threatening me and mediating their relationship. But if she does something like this, it would only further distance my brother. On top of that, he wouldn't want to have anything to do with her for the rest of his life. Doesn't she realize that she's doing the complete opposite?
Hey, let's start over again. If we talk, we can understand each other. We don't need to cancel our marriage for such a person. You said you love children, right? I'm young, so I can give birth to as many as you want. Let's build a happy family together.
Feeling a chill down my spine, I looked at her face, beaming with a smile.
Huh? What are you talking about? Are you okay?
There is no way I could live with someone whose screws have come loose. The place you're going to is a jail cell. Immediately after, we could hear the sounds of sirens and several police cars parked nearby. The police officers came over to us immediately, and Luna was taken away. She was shouting at us, "Let go! I was deceived by them! The bad one is that woman! Arrest that woman!" until she got into the police car, but many people witnessed her swinging the bat at me. After all, this is the entrance of a general hospital, with many patients, their families, and hospital staff coming and going. Our witnesses explained to the police that Luna had swung the bat at me, so her claims were disregarded, and she was taken straight to the police station. As a precaution, I had myself and my child examined. Thankfully, due to my quick reflexes, neither of us were injured. I was relieved to have been able to protect my child. Subsequently, Luna was arrested on charges of attempted assault against us. Someone who had witnessed the scene that day ended up uploading the incident on social media. Although the video was immediately removed by the platform's administration, it had been viewed and shared by a significant number of people, making it impossible to completely erase. As a result of the incident and its spread, Luna lost her job and her parents were forced into a situation where they had to move. Then, Luna's parents came to my family home. "Please help us. We live on pensions and have no money. We can't afford to pay compensation," they pleaded. "Let's settle this peacefully," they suggested. Once Luna was behind bars, it became the responsibility of her parents to pay the damages. They had come to us for a settlement stating they had no money since they were living on pensions. "No matter what you say, I can't forgive you. If you contact us any further, I will consult the police," I responded. Previously, the two of them would have apologized with a smug smile on their faces, but today, they were genuinely in trouble. They repeatedly apologized. Even so, I could not forgive them. When it became clear they wouldn't leave despite being told numerous times, my husband threatened to call the police and they hastily left. After a discussion with my parents, my husband, and Brian, we decided to move out of this house as we couldn't guarantee they wouldn't return. In case of unforeseen circumstances, we moved in a high-security apartment. Everyone changed their phone numbers so we should no longer be reachable. Later, the compensation was safely paid and we were relieved. However, the three of them faced ruin. Luna was still behind bars, and even if she were to be released, it would be difficult for her to reintegrate into society given her name, face, and video had spread worldwide. Her parents were living on pension, but they couldn't afford to repay their debts and had to resort to working 6 days a week at part-time jobs. As for Luna, she seemed to be making money from working nights, but the patrons who knew about her past turned her into a joke, so she's been hopping from one place to another. They were out of money and barely scraping by, with daily fights over finances becoming a constant occurrence.